From the streetlights of Gotham to the skylines of Metropolis, this is Capes and Cases, where investigations need icons, and the stories behind the heroes finally get told. Marky Mark, Calibus Ram.
Hello everyone, welcome to Capes and Cases. Today we're going to be talking about GalaxyCon Rally 2026, which was last weekend. We had a good time. It was from Thursday to Sunday. We were there, got there Thursday afternoon, and we ended up leaving Sunday afternoon. Had a great time. I have to say it was a little different. I felt it was a bit smaller for some reason this year than it was in previous years, but we still had a pretty good time. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, I thought it was fun, but I didn't have as much fun here.
Yeah, I have to say, years in the past, I did think it seemed bigger and grander, and there were so many celebrities there in years past that you got to hear what they were talking about, what they were doing. For some reason, this year they did still have quite a few celebrities, but they didn't have as many panels with those celebrities, and I kind of missed out on that. What did you think about that part?
Yeah, I definitely noticed. Um, they did a lot of celebrities did photo ops,
Yeah.
and where before, I think it was a little bit even out more. Hey, this person is there. Yeah, I did. They're going to do the photo op, but they're also going to have a panel. And, almost thinking, it almost felt like I was a little deceived where it showed, I mean, I would just say 50. I'm sure that's not an accurate number. But, they showed 50 stars and maybe 18 panels. And we're panel, I like going, listen to the stars, stories, listen to people asking questions, and things like that. I mean, Saturday I saw quite a few people that, for people that, I love seeing. This one group of actors that each, time we just didn't, time just escape us. But I did notice all of these people, they were just photographed. We don't do that. I know a lot of people do. Don't shoot me, but I kind of think it's kind of a waste of time to get to spend $150 on a picture. Of course, it means something to you, but because these stars go from convention to convention, it's not worth anything. If you just look at, hey, look, this person signed it to me, and that means something to you, go for it. And I'm not saying that. Never have and don't ever plan. So for me, because they're spending all that time, at the table, and I'm not saying you can't walk up to ask questions, but of course they're there to make money, which I get that. I just wanted to hear stories, and other than on Saturday, I don't feel like I really got that. Even with the non celebrity panels, I've missed a lot of the panels that we normally see. The Ghost ones, the Hunting ones. Rocket Horror wasn't there this year. Yeah, I've seen it before at these times, but kind of was looking forward to it just in case I wanted to see it, and it wasn't even an option. So I was kind of disappointed.
Yeah, I have to agree. They did have the panels like before, Of course, this is the armorer from the Mandalorian, Star Wars, The Mandalorian. So that was pretty nice, but hers was a good panel. I just wanted to show you the pictures that we did take. It, a lot of people do a lot of cosplay, which was great. Um, I did notice there were some people that had panels that cost money. So Hayden Christensen from Star Wars, Anakin Skywalker, his panel was $800 in order to get into it to see him. We went up there. I thought you can just sit there without paying, but they were like, no, everybody that comes in has to pay. So that was his panel. And then Chris Jericho, his panel cost how much was $150 for his panel, and he had a small little line. His was in the smaller room, which is the one I'm showing now. It's the Talk Jericho at 6 p.m., which is a special ticket event, and there were quite a few people lined up to see him. So they were making their money as well. You had so many people doing cosplay. The one thing I did notice, there were so many voice actors that were there. And I think a lot of people were there mainly for voice actors over seeing the actual people that, do live action movies. So I can tell that we're getting a change from people that are into, I want to say, fandoms involving live action superhero movies, live action, big blockbuster movies. And it seems the thing that's making the most money has been anime. And their anime movies are making $1 billion when they're played. And then the regular movies aren't doing nowhere near as well as anime. I remember going to this convention in the past, and I was able to find hats from different genres that I like because I love DC and Marvel, so I buy their hats and shirts like that. But when you go now, you're seeing a lot of the, anime stuff that is being shown. And what I have to say, most of these people's cosplays were fantastic. We got quite a few people with cosplay. Here I am with Garth, so, he's his own best friend. So that was great. Had a lot of fun. I did want to show you. This is actually the dealer's room, for the convention. This is just half of it. I know in the past this one used to have food trucks in the dealer room, so you had more food options. If you saw earlier, now the food trucks are outside. Um, they have set prices for their food. So this is a different angle from that. I also want to show a video of us walking throughout the whole convention so you can see just how big it is. Now over here we have the celebrities. Those are the green top places. That's where all of the celebrities were. And you got to say that there were a lot there, right?
Yeah, it was a lot of celebrities. I mean, obviously, we can't take video in that area. You can't take pictures. We didn't even try. We follow the rules at that aspect. Sometimes we saw the celebrity there. There's times when we didn't. The lines to some of these celebrities were just outrageous. People going in, getting their picture with the celebrity, getting them signed. I mean, if you're into it, good for you. I'm not. Just call me cheap, I guess. But there was a lot of people there, a lot of celebrities. I like the panels, and I just was missing. His panel, I mean, his phones, hello. Lord of the Rings, you gotta love them. His panel was really, really good. I was glad to see him, so I enjoyed it. His was good too. We saw him in Richmond.
Correct. He's always very good.
He is a down to earth person. It's just funny that he plays those kind of roles, and he seems pretty cool. I would love to be his friend.
Yeah. And Rosario Dawson, she talked pretty well about everything. Of course, we saw William Shatner. Although now,
how many questions did he answer?
He answered 3 in 1 hour. He answered 3 questions. So that was the extent of him answering questions. But you go there just for to see how he's doing. I have one signed autograph that I have with the picture with a voice actor from GI Joe back in the '80s. But other than that, I don't have any other ones. There were two celebrities that I would have considered getting a autograph from, and those would have been William Shatner because he is 93 years old, and I don't think he's going to be around. I wish he would be around longer, but you don't know how much longer he is going to be around.
I noticed he was smaller
Yeah, he.
before. I mean, I'm not saying he's overweight, but he kind of had a little gut there before I've seen him in the past. He still has it, but he is physically. I looked at him, and I know my Captain old or young, and he is.
Yeah, I think he said even in his panel he was talking about him and his daughter fighting cancer and they got over it. So I was thinking maybe that's why, but he was very nice.
Yeah, mine still sharp
Very
as it was back in '68.
Yeah. So yeah, he does do quite well. I did have to say as well, we noticed that this time there were not as many fan groups at the convention. The room that I'm showing had the Star Trek. What is it? The
Kitty Hawk.
Kitty Hawk. Yeah, the Kitty Hawk Star Trek group was there, and they were not even at the con at all. We did meet the guy that was in charge of it. We talked to him for a few minutes because we went to a Star Trek panel, and then we realized we'd seen that panel before.
Yeah, well, I was, he saw my lanyard, and of course it's Star Trek. I dressed up as Star Trek actually 3 of the 4 days, but it was so cold in there that, didn't really matter what color shirt I had on that day. But, he saw it, he came over, offered us a card, and was like, yeah, we've, have seen y'all here before. And he kind of said that the fan tables, they thought they were getting in, and until about 3 months ago, they got an email saying that they didn't get in. And considering they were in a room last year,
Huge.
a huge room last year and the year before, I remember last year when we went, um, took a picture, and they had a screen showing, past conventions they've been to and people that went in and said, I and actually that room was just those figurines, you know, of the picture screen we saw of, I think, the Dragon Ball Z, I think was in there. Yeah. I don't know how many fan tickets they had,
Two.
but that was
Actually, probably
disappointing.
four.
Yeah.
A few more than two, but I can probably count about 4 different ones. So the 501st was there.
Right when you walked in, I think hopefully we can find a picture. I took a lot of pictures over the weekend. But right when you walk in into the main building, that's where they were. Normally, you were able to come in, go through security, walk in, and that's where you get your badges. This time, your badges, you had to get your badges from outside, walk through security, and then you're in the convention. It wasn't too bad, with us coming on Thursday, it wasn't raining, but I did hear on the Rally Comic Con Facebook page, a lot of people was concerned that they had a waiting line outside, instead of just rushing in the building, waiting in line instead to get your, membership card. You have to do everything. Because those two, the 504th was right there. If you had a spot to be and you had a fan table, that was the spot to be because you walked in and there was they were. But those fan tables was.
Yeah, I was going to say, because like I said, the 501st was there. There was a droid group there. I think there was the, oh, Yeah, okay, so Ghostbusters were there. And then they had a group they had a petting zoo for reptiles. So she was there as well. So you can pet or touch a snake or iguana, stuff like that. So that was also there. Um,
Even in the hotel, the Marriott, years for past last year, they had fan tables in there. And
they got rid of all of
they
that.
got rid of all of
So at the Marriott, they had the arcade. The arcade was there, which was there before,
it. Yeah.
but it was a small. I think it was a smaller setup. So this year, there was dealers in that room where the arcade was. So there were no dealers there this year, but they had a huge room full of video games that you can play, and then the rooms beside it had fan groups and stuff like that. But this year, you can play just board games. They had a room full of people just playing board games in there. So that was something that was quite unique. Um,
These are pictures of the artist gallery.
this is the art gallery room, so these are the artist row. And like I said, there was quite a few. As you can see, we went there Saturday, and we could not move because it was so packed. This day, we were able to walk through, take a few pictures, and it wasn't as bad. So, like I said, they had a lot of people selling things there. Besides the convention floor, the that room where they had the celebrities as well as all of your exhibitors there. They had this artist row that had quite a few people there, and you can see some of these things were handmade, some of these things were a lot of different stuff that you can purchase in there. So I have to say they definitely had their money's worth when if you were willing to pay for something, you can definitely find it inside the convention. Now, when we first got there, the first day, I think we were able to see two panels. Is that about right?
Yeah.
They usually have things up until 1 o'clock every day, 1 a.m. And I have to say, we just didn't find things that we were quite interested in. Now, this is what was that? Phineas and Ferb. So that's who these guys are. It's Phineas and Ferb and the girl that was always in love with one of them. I don't remember which one. Oh, there they are. So those are the people that were there. We walked in. We didn't stay. My girls are into Phineas and Ferb, so I remember watching it as a kid, but wasn't anything that I was interested in. As I said, we had Pram Grier there. He was somebody I would love to get a autograph from, just because she's Pam Grier. Um,
We've never, and we've been to a lot of conventions, and I believe this is the first for us to see.
yeah,
That was cool to see.
yeah, Michael Ironside was here.
Yeah.
He was very good as well, and he was so funny because his panel started at 12:15. He got there a little bit before 12, just walked out.
Sat down.
He was about to sit on the couch, and he was like, "I can't sit there. The chair's too low, my back hurts." So they had to bring him a regular chair, and then he started talking and a little bit of cussing.
Yeah, a little bit of cussing.
Yeah, a lot of cussing. He cussed the whole time, but he was like, "Yeah, let's just go. What do you want? I'm just gonna start talking," and he just answered questions that people asked. The person that was supposed to moderate it got there late, and he was like,
You do now.
yeah. So the guy just set up a microphone, and because he started 15 minutes early, we got to stay an extra 15 minutes. So his panel ended up being an hour, and he was perfectly
Yeah,
great.
I really enjoyed his panel. I enjoyed a lot of his movies. You know, when he was in Spaceship, the aliens.
Oh,
Oh God, you know the aliens. He died when they put on the Starship. Yeah,
yeah.
you know that.
Trooper.
Yeah, you know I've been a fan of him, and in the TV series.
Yeah.
You know he did. A lot
Total
of
Recall.
Total
Yeah,
Recall.
he was going to kill everybody
Yeah.
by shooting the glass.
you know, and he does a lot of, sci-fi, spoof movies. But yeah, definitely wanted to see him. I'm glad I did. And first time I've seen him too.
Yeah, that was, and actually Rose McGowan was there with Scream. Um, this is the first time I've ever
Yeah,
seen her at a
first time.
convention. Um, so she was talking about her cast and everything. But it was actually the whole Scream cast was there, and they were all really cool. Now, you're I didn't realize he is from Virginia, North Carolina area.
Yeah.
So he was like, this was more of a homecoming for him. So he was very happy about it. They had a lot of great things that they talked about.
You could tell they're friends too.
Yeah,
It was just a movie thing. I think, when they were talk, they were like, yeah, well, I was at his house last week,
right.
so I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, it was a great panel. Really had a great time. And some of the people that passed away, was kind of sad. Even Rose, she didn't realize, she didn't find out that, of course, the last Scream movie that the main character's daughter was named after her because she didn't know until one of the fans came to her table and said something about
Well, named after her character.
her character, correct, in the movie that, and then they were talking about, that they never even cried for her death, and they were like, well, yeah, he cried in, I think it was the fourth movie.
His
Yeah,
sister.
yeah, that his sister was killed, and they were like, they cut the scene. So I was like, well, that's sad. You didn't even get that closure for him. It just seemed like he passed away.
Yeah.
Oh well. Yeah.
Let's worry about
Who's next? Who's gonna die next? So
I love those movies. I
yeah.
can't talk about.
So yeah, quite a few of those.
Artist Room again.
The artist room again. Like I said, quite a few people in there, and then we have different cosplays.
Show the next picture.
So
Yeah, the reason for that is Mark and I are sitting down. We're just about to get up, start walking around. We found a table because of her phone, and the girl went to the table next to us, started talking, and he saw her front, which wasn't too bad, but her back, her buttocks, so to speak, was exposed. And I'm like, oh my God, and Mark's like, I'm gonna get up and ask and take a picture of her. And I'm like, don't.
well, she asked me to take a picture of her, and I was like, no problem. But I'm gonna ask. I'm not just gonna walk over and take a picture.
Tell him to be on the down low. I'm gonna be on.
So that's why she posed for me because I asked. Um, so yeah, that was it.
Not the back though.
Yeah.
Not show that picture.
So other than that, quite interesting. Now I took a picture of this because you can purchase this picture, this piece of art, which is Han Solo frozen in carbonite, and it's only $1,000. So I thought that was pretty cool. And then I love this picture. Um, so, like I said, they had quite a few different things going on. So the one thing I did want to take the time to say, like each day they had different panels and stuff like that. The only thing I would have to say, there seemed to be few and far between. I was somewhat disappointed in that aspect of the whole thing. I wish they had just more stuff going on at different times. Now,
I think what you mean by that is it's kind of a catch-22. There's times when we've been to con and he wants to see somebody at 1 o'clock. I want to see somebody at 1:15, and we really have to make a choice of, oh my goodness, do we see this person? There's a few times where Mark and I actually had to split up, to see somebody he wanted to see something, somebody that I wanted to see. I did not go through that here at all. I mean, we were together through the whole time, just because of the lack of panels, I feel like. And, we would get to the room sometimes 1, 2 o'clock. I think the first night, we got there probably about 3:34. I think we left 9, way early for us. The latest we stayed might have been 11. And even that was
Yeah, because there was nothing like in the past. They had, like we said, they had the Rocky Horror Picture Show, and they even had a burlesque show. Now this year, the burlesque show cost, which was something completely different. We did want to take the time just to show you a video. I sped it up so you can see the entire convention, what's going on. These are all of the rooms downstairs for the panels. But you know, you have an opportunity to see exactly where you can go, what panels are in each room, stuff like that. And this was, I believe, Saturday or Sunday, I think.
Saturday.
Yeah, so no, yeah, Saturday was
Yeah.
had to be Sunday. So just to get an idea of all the walking we have been doing, um, that was a nursing station, which I thought was quite
That was
neat.
cool.
This is where we sat, you know, just to charge our phones, and then you work your way upstairs. So this would be considered the third floor where we're at now, and the only thing back there would have been the bathroom. So from there, then you're going to walk back. This is Artist Row, which is the one, you know, I've shown you quite a few pictures of that. And then this is the main stage where most of the celebrities would do the larger ones. Now, the first one I showed you down below, that was where they had people they felt weren't able to draw as many people. It seems like the majority of people were there to see the voice actors and ask questions to the voice actors. So that was quite unique. Now we're working our way down. We're back on the main level, which is actually considered the second floor. And then we're going to go down. And as you can see, we're heading to this is the third level. And then here is where you have all of the vendors, and this is like underground. So, you know, we walked around here. You get the chance to see what everybody's selling. We were there. We walked through there probably about 3 times.
Yeah, 3, 4 times.
Yeah. So if you have an idea of what you like, you can probably find it here. A lot of great stuff that was for sale. We did pick up a few things from there. Uh,
I know what I would do. I mean, I don't buy a lot of souvenirs anymore because, you're going to bring it home and, put it in the china cabinet and don't see it anytime soon. This is just my opinion. But, the prices are the prices. I know sometimes I would stand there, ooh, this is cool, look on Amazon and then decide if I wanted to get it right then and there or just go ahead and order it on Amazon and be there.
yeah. I did pick up a ring I'm going to use for cosplay. Um, so that was something different. Definitely got the size I wanted, so that was perfect because he had large size for larger hands or thicker joints. A lot of times when you go to these conventions, they usually have small rings or smaller sizes, not really a lot of stuff that you can find. We did purchase something from there as well because he's got some great things. Kind of find out it was kind of funny. My wife has purchased the same thing twice from that person.
Large, small.
So yeah, the first time was larger pictures. Well, I purchased it. I purchased larger pictures, and this time she purchased smaller, more metal pictures. That was the difference between the two. As you can see, there are quite a few people there. They have a lot of artists. They have a lot of comic book writers, which was fantastic. Um, was there anybody that you were really excited about seeing this time?
Um, Not really. I mean, the Scream panel I thought was cool. Can't say I was excited. But, I love the movie. I watch Scream pretty much every time that I see that. Pam Grier was cool. Never seen her before. Um, like I said earlier, Michael Ironside was good. Then Keisha Song was there. I don't know how we missed that. We had it, on our phone as a don't miss. And later on that evening, I was sitting down, looked up, saw a video, and then said, "Snap, we missed it." So really disappointed because I've never seen them before. You know, born in USA, LA,
Mhm.
so to speak, was big back in the
80s.
80s.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I would have liked to see them. But I mean, overall, I enjoyed myself, but I've been to cons in Raleigh where I think I had, you know, more fun.
Yeah, like we said, they had celebrities because Short Round was there um, from is it Indiana Jones or Goonies. You know, that's what I said. I'm saying Booty Shot. And I really wanted to see him. I thought he was going to do a panel. He wasn't. He wasn't there when we first got there. Walked around. He wasn't there. Any. We didn't walk around any other days
Yeah.
because they were so many people over there getting autographs. But he wasn't there the first day. He didn't do a panel. I was hoping that he would have done
Yeah.
a panel so we could, you know, just see what he was talking about. But that would have been the only thing that I had an issue with. Because, like I said, there were a lot of people there that did not do panels. And other than that, you know, I thought we had a pretty good time.
But that's where the money is. I mean,
Correct.
we discussed that, hey, I'm going to sit here at a table, talk to somebody for a minute, if that long, take a quick picture of them, and I can make, you know, easy money quickly, instead of now, you got to walk to the room where you're doing the panel at. You gotta go ahead, go there for 45 minutes, take that big group picture that to do at the end, walk back. Okay, so you're gone an hour, hour 15 minutes. Look how much money you lost in doing that. So I get it, like seeing that.
Yeah. So, like I said, other than that, we did just wanted to show you exactly what was going on with the exhibitors hall. We did that a few times, and other than that, no, we had somewhat fun. I have to say Sunday was the best day because we got to see everybody that we were planning on seeing. Um, Saturday we missed teaching song. I was a little disappointed in that. We did talk to a lady that really loved teaching song. I showed you a picture of her earlier in cosplay with her husband, and they talked to them, and then she actually made them a few gifts that she was taking back to them later, which I thought was so cool. And she said they were really nice, so she had a great time there. Um, I'm going to ask.
One thing I do want to say, you have a book right there. Your drink was on top of it. Even the GalaxyCon book in years past, this, and I don't know, hold on, how many pages on here? 19 pages. I wish I would have looked at past books. Um, this is incredibly thin, where, before they showed the time, what room they are, and the faces of the stars. There's a few people that, we know their on screen character name, not necessarily their real name. And we had to Google, some of these people. Hey, so so is in this room. Who is that? I don't know. We Google their name. Oh, let's go and see them.
Yeah.
So even the book is was a lot smaller. And then when you use the app that they had, it didn't show the picture of the person. I know their faces, not necessarily their real names. It just gave, hey, William Shatner in room 303, 1 o'clock. She was in Star Trek, Captain Kirk, J. Hooker, blah, blah, blah. Of course, I know who he is, but there's some stars that I didn't know their real names, and we had to Google it.
Yeah. I was going to say, because I didn't remember the armorer's real name.
I knew it.
I did not. So I was just sitting there like, yeah, I don't know who that is.
I'm like, are you kidding? That's the armorer.
Nope, didn't know who she was.
You all Star Wars.
Yeah, I mean, but she didn't know who Darth Maul was, and I knew.
Wait a minute, I know his name. He was in that vampire and werewolf TV show.
But you were asking about the other people.
Well, the other people, he was the only person that I needed to know. I didn't know
that was pretty much like we said. The names were a little hard.
Yeah.
When it comes to the voice actors, we didn't go to any voice actor panels. Unfortunately, that's just not something that I'm into. I prefer the live action. We did go to Star Wars voice actor panels.
Yeah, but we knew that.
But we knew those people. What would you think? I know your answer, but what did you feel about, like on a scale of 1 to 10, how did you feel about this?
Um, I will probably give it a 6.5, just I've been there many times before. I think this might have been our fifth, sixth, seventh time going to RallyCon. I've always looked forward to it, and I miss things that I've seen them done in the past. Mark and I used to tell Mark that I thought RallyCon was the bigger of the con between that and Richmond. I definitely noticed this one, and we went to Richmond, back in March.
Yeah, 3 months, 4 months.
Yeah, 3, 4 months ago, and I don't remember. I want to say I probably gave it an 8 or 9. We was there late, you know. I feel like they had more panels that we saw.
Well, they had more rooms.
They had more rooms. Well, yeah. Well, I don't think it really had to do with necessarily the space. There was a lot of empty rooms in there. You know,
Well, where the panels were.
with the panels. Well, the main rooms were bigger,
Yeah, that's why, because they had 3 stages for
Yeah.
panels in Richmond.
Big, medium, small, but still large rooms.
Yeah, where this only had 2 rooms for panels. And some of these panels were standing room only. Like when we were in Richmond, we saw Thelma and Louise. That room I felt was small, but it should have been in a bigger room. But it was standing room only. But I think it was a smaller room, but I think it was still bigger than the smaller room in Raleigh. That was the only thing we were talking about. This one only had 2 rooms, 4 panels, which was as big as it could be. The other Richmond just had 2 buildings. Plus, did they still have the hotel there? I'm not sure if I don't think.
Yeah, I think they had something.
Okay. So I like this one. I think it was better in the past. Probably going to give it 6 stars because I enjoyed Sunday over all of the other days. I felt like we didn't need to go Thursday. The only reason probably, but then we needed to be there so that we can be there early Friday. So that part makes it hard to say, oh, Thursday was just a wasted day for us. But
Well, that's mainly because for us is the parking aspect.
yes,
At both places you got to pay the park. And we were able. I think all 4 days we ended up paying $15 per day to park.
yeah,
But of course, if you leave, you got to pay $15. So it's not like you get spot 101. That's your spot.
right.
And because it rained, and we wanted to get as close of a parking spot that was connected to the convention as possible, we got there early. So we never stay at their hotel, because it's, $300+ a night. I'm not going to spend that. We were like 15, 20 minutes away. I think our room was maybe like 110, 115 a night. So downfall, of course, if we stayed at the hotel, when I'm bored, I can go to the room. Or there were even a night where um, something we wanted to see ended at 6. Something else we wanted to see started at 9:15. We got a 3-hour window. Yes, the village room closed at 8, but what we're going to do for the hour. So, of course, staying at their hotel, I could have just went to the room, brought food to the room, and, relaxed and went back. Because we get there so early in the parking spot, so we can get that ideal parking space, we just went to the car and ate our food, went back and forth, and we was able to go back and forth because we got there so early. Plus, we had the idea for drinks. We didn't have to look for drinks around all day. So it kind of worked us getting there that early, but I wish we did have the money to stay at their hotel.
Yeah, the hotel we stayed at though had a kitchen, so we were
Yeah,
able to cook. Um, that was great, and it was in a nice little area that had a lot of restaurants.
3, 4 times before.
Yeah, and they had a restaurant nearby, so we were able to go to different places.
Before, yeah.
So in that aspect, I like the hotel we stay at. Um, do wish it was closer. Wish it was away, like we said. If we could have stayed at the hotel, we could have been able to just go back and forth to the room. The one thing I do also want to say, um, you, this hotel, even if you stay there, you got to pay the park. I did help a person that was there. Like we paid $15 a day. They paid $54 for the weekend.
You think they slept in their car?
But they still, so yeah, stuff like that. But they were, really cool people. So yeah, all in all, I'm not sure if we're gonna go again next year. I think we're just gonna try to stick to Richmond, same con, just a little bit bigger, a lot closer to home. Um, what do you want to? Do you have anything you want to say in closing?
Yeah, we'll go back. We have other things planned for next year, so I don't want you to think that because we both kind of gave it a 6 to 7. That's the reason why we're not going. I love going to Galaxy Con. All the cons, I just kind of my favorite one, of course, other than the Star Trek in Vegas. But where we stayed at that hotel. But of all the cons, I love the Galaxy Con. This one though, when you saw something in its heyday, and saw how good it was and how big it was, and you saw the stars. I didn't really get that this time. So I was a little bit of a tad disappointed, but I will go to there again, even if it's not next year. They'll see me year after next.
Yeah, I have to agree. We definitely want to plan to go again. We always enjoy going down there, like staying at that one hotel, and I enjoy all the things that they have. So it is something that we look forward to each year. Gonna probably, like I said, I know we're gonna go to Richmond, but I'm not sure when we will be back. But stay tuned. Anything else you want to say in closing?
No, I mean, if you get a chance to go, go. Don't take our word for it. Go see it for yourself. Make sure you have a different opinion, the same opinion. We will know as we go.
That's true. And if you enjoy cons, this is one of the bigger ones on the East Coast, uh, where you get all of those celebrities that come over here. They are willing to sign. They talk to people. They're very personable. I think you definitely want to give it an opportunity. Go ahead and see it. They don't just focus on the one thing. They do, as I said, they moved away from the original, where it was a lot of more
Movies.
correct. Now it's more anime related. So that would be the only thing I say that's different. Um, when it comes to this area in Hampton Roads, we do have NecoCon, which is straight up just anime. That is going to be coming up in the next few months. We will be there. We will be going live from there, so you can see the difference in the two cons. This one, you did get to see some celebrities there. We went to the panels. We posted those panels, so you got a chance to see how those panels are. Hopefully, you enjoyed it. Stay tuned. We have
There's also a lot of smaller cons in the area that we go to. We have Tidewater Horror Con.
That's coming up in September. We have the Shire that's coming up in September. And that is for a great cause because they collect food for the pantry food shelter.
That's Labor Day weekend.
So if you have an opportunity, come on out to Suffolk to partake in that. The Tidewater Horror Con is also in September. That is going to be in Norfolk at I forgot the name of the hotel. But when we get that information, we're going to put that out there. Stay tuned for that.
And I think there's one more other con.
those are the two that we definitely will be at.
But it's something.
Fantasy is next year, which I'm not sure. I think we're going to be going to that. That one is going to be at the Holiday Inn in Virginia Beach. Should be there, but I'm not quite sure. But that will start the new year of cons. Right now, the next few cons, I said, we have the Shire, we have Taiwan Horror Con, we have NecoCon. If we have another con, we'll let you know.
Where?
Hampton Comic Con.
Yeah, Hampton Comic Con. You did say the Horror Con, right?
Right, Taiwan Horror Con. So I think that's going to be it
Right,
for
there's
us.
something else for me.
But if we do, we'll let you know when we're there. And I guess that's pretty much it for us.
Yeah, because we're on our way to see Spider-Man, so we gotta get ready to go.
All right, but stay tuned. We'll talk to you next time. And thanks everybody for joining. Also hit that like and subscribe. And hopefully we'll see you next time or see you at the con.
Yes.